The worst kept secret is finally out. Alistair Coetzee, the former Stormers head coach and former assistant Springbok coach, has been named as the new Springbok head coach for the next 4-year period. Alongside me, I've got our chief rugby writer from Sport24, Rob Howing, to give us his thoughts on this announcement. Rob, thank you very much for coming in at such short notice.
Pleasure, Nick.
I suppose Alistair's background staff and his assistants was the next big question on everyone's lips. Any surprises there?
Yeah, as you say, Alistair himself, far less of a surprise than any other developments. It's been swirling for many months now. I remember writing before Christmas, after getting very good information from very influential people, that not only was Heyneke Meyer on the point of stepping down, which he then did within 48 hours, but that Alistair Coetzee would probably be the Springbok coach by Christmas. That didn't materialize, and of course that just meant that there was a few dynamics that had been, perhaps slightly unexpected hiccups, shall we say, that needed to be resolved, getting out of Japanese contracts, etc., etc. But so for several months, all that we've really been speculating about is what his backup team, as you say, would be. Johan van Graan, recently we heard that he was going to be to get a sort of an ongoing role as the forwards coach in the box setup. So again, not a special surprise there. He was a sort of loyal servant, if you like, of the Heyneke Meyer regime. Has certainly cut his teeth pretty well in sort of franchise first-class rugby in South Africa. There had been talk of Matthew Proudfoot coming on board as one of Alistair Coetzee's forward men. That doesn't seem to have occurred. Possibly you might see developments on that front later down the line. I don't know.
So like a scrum specialist.
Yes, who knows?
Consultancy.
I sort of thought maybe there could be a dual role, that if Johan van Graan was going to be the senior forwards coach, that perhaps you could get Matt Proudfoot in as the scrumming technician or something like that. Because a scrumming specialist is also something that is quite valued in world rugby these days. But the Boks have also gone for a more streamlined management panel generally, as we knew was going to be the case. Alistair apparently was quite keen on them sort of pulling back on the number of people that for instance, Heyneke Meyer had as his backroom staff, so that you can get perhaps sort of a slightly more crisper, more concise kind of unanimity, if you like, from your staff. Mzwandile Stick, the interesting addition now as new backline coach. Interesting development, because there has been this talk about Bok backline play and franchise rugby play also having deteriorated. Lack of ideas, lack of initiative in running into space, creating opportunities for other players. Lots of talk about how our backline players still being too sort of bash orientated. And a guy like Stick with his strong sevens
pedigree,
absolutely, clearly a major move there to evolve the box on that front. Ricardo,
is there not also perhaps, Rob, a bit of an Eastern Cape connection there? Of course, Alistair Coetzee originally from that part of the world. Yeah,
look, there may well be a prior sort of synergy, respect, if you like, between them. I'm not quite sure of the dynamics on that.
I see one of the team doctors or physios is also from the Southern Kings.
Absolutely. Look, Alistair would have been allowed quite clearly and fairly to put a little bit of a personal stamp on things, even as Saru had got certain ducks in a row beforehand. So it seems like a fairly well-balanced panel. Alistair certainly came across as pretty relaxed and confident, but then he always does. His PR side of things is usually deals with no problems. We're not going to have a sort of a Peter de Villiers scenario of sort of lots of sort of slightly eccentric quotes coming out at press conferences and so on. And I also think Alistair may not be quite as expansive as Heyneke Meyer sometimes was. Heyneke used to sort of wear his heart on his sleeve to such an extent, and it was quite admirable in certain ways, but also you sometimes felt that he almost gave a little bit too much away. He almost surprised you with the extent to which he actually unveiled what his plans were and how he felt about particular players. I think Alistair will be a little bit more cagey on that front, but still come across, confidently and engagingly in the sort of PR side of things. So on that side, no special worries. I think we're heading for potentially some sort of calm waters for a while, especially because we've got to give him some leeway, especially in his first year or so, to just sort of cut his teeth as the head coach for the Springboks for the first time, and allow him to sort of develop a template.